A package in the mail, MSX games from Japan. Collecting without fail, those shoot 'em ups, and that's the plan. He doesn't just collect them, he also codes them too. Join us and we'll go on electric adventures with you.
Hey YouTube, Electric Adventures here. First, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. I haven't recorded a video since well before Christmas. Also, one of my previous videos you might have seen, we're in a nasty car crash on the 4th of December. Completely wrote off the car. Somebody ran a red light in front of us and we basically T-boned them. Myself and my wife are okay, still some nagging back issues and things like that, and the car was a complete write-off. I've managed to get a replacement car. It has taken some time to get over that accident, that's why I have been a little bit quiet, just really haven't had the energy or the ability to make a video, but I said won't lament on that too much, but yes, we're all fine, we're alive, that's what counts. The car did its job and sacrificed itself. I have managed to find another car, a same model but newer, so it has cost me more money, of course, as these things go. It doesn't have exactly the same features as the old one, but it's got things that one didn't have anyway. Anyway, I'm happy with it. I've used it and gone down to our holiday home and it drives well, so these things happen. So anyway, on to retro stuff. So, other pickups. So, obviously I've got a few things for Christmas, but before Christmas I also, my friend has actually had this for a while. It just took a little while because of COVID and things to get together to give it to me, but it also means I only just got this just before Christmas, so I haven't had a chance to play with it. And this is actually what's called a Pi Storm. So it's an interface that goes in, and this one particular one is for an Amiga 500. Goes into an Amiga 500 and then put a Raspberry Pi on here. I think it needs to be either a 3 or a 4. I don't think the zeros are powerful enough. But once again, I haven't had a chance to have to play with the builds. But you put this in and it basically gives you an accelerator for very little money. This was only $60 because we did a combined shipment. So I've only got to get a Raspberry Pi and add it to this one. I do have a Raspberry Pi 3, but once again just haven't had the time and been here to give it a go. So I'll probably do a specific video when I've got that up and running and playing with it. But I do like my Amigas, and I do have a few Amigas, and it'll be good to have an accelerating one. They are working on a version that will work in the Amiga 1200, which I'll be most interested in getting when that comes out. I do show Laserdisc here. So this was actually my good friend Brendan, who I've mentioned a few times, actually gave us a Christmas present, and one of the items was actually a present for my wife, and it was a copy, and this is one of her favourite movies from back in the day. This is a sealed copy of Armageddon on Laserdisc, and it's definitely an original seal. Looks in very good condition. We haven't had a chance to watch it as yet because I've been away, and we are going back down to our holiday home for the next week, so probably we'll watch it later in the month. But excellent movie, one of my wife's favourites. I enjoyed it as well, and a lovely condition Laserdisc to add to the Laserdisc lineup, which are always very nice. He also gave me, and I've forgotten to bring it out here, it was a collector's edition of the movie Troy, a special box set on DVD, and a game for the original Xbox. I haven't played it, but I have heard a lot about this game, that it's supposed to be pretty good, and it's Crimson Skies, and it's supposed to be a very good flight action type game. It's actually a not for resale copy. Might have come with something else. So it's a bit, yeah, so lots of flight and attack missions in 3D. Really shows the original Xbox's graphics capabilities off. I have heard a lot about it, so I'm actually looking forward to giving that a play. It's the NTSC version, as you can see there. So I'll give that a go later, and looking forward to it. So thank you for those items, Brendan. So from my Christmas presents, this is I mean, my wife mainly got me clothes and a nice pair of sunglasses for driving, but also she got me, and once again, don't have the prop here, I got the Cyberpunk game for the PlayStation 4. Now I do only have a normal PlayStation 4, I don't have a Pro. I have started playing it, and it seems to work. I'm not that frame rate fussy or anything like that, but it seems to be okay. I have had one time when the game sort of started stuttering and did a bit of slowdown, we got noise, but it recovered. So we'll see how we go with that, but I've only really just started playing it. And with that we got this bonus item, which was a Star Wars Mandalorian Beach Towel, which I've taken out of the plastic, but I haven't actually unfolded yet. So that was a nice little bonus item. And my other daughters got together and bought me a brand new board game. And how this one went, and I'm going to act my age here, and I can't actually remember the name. Once again, I've taken it to the holiday home because we're going to play it down there. So I'll do an extra bit of video in a second, and we'll actually I'll show you what's in the box. It's a very impressive thing, but the original thing was, earlier in the year we saw that there was a new version of HeroQuest being released, and I said, oh, that'd be fantastic, we used to love playing HeroQuest. And they actually went to buy me that, but apparently it's not going to be released over here in Australia till April. So you never know, there might be a spoiler for what they might save up and get together and buy me for my birthday. But apparently this game is very much like HeroQuest, and it has very good detailed miniatures and interesting game rules, and it even has a companion app that takes a lot of the paperwork out of it. What I'll do now, just do a quick cross, and I'll open the box up and show you all the bits and pieces. The miniatures and everything are very, very nice. Right, so here's the game. It's called Descent. So it's supposed to be very similar to HeroQuest. I have already opened it before. The box is really tall, but it's actually got an empty part in the bottom for storing the miniatures and things once you take them out. You have the main manual, which is in colour, and it actually has a corresponding app, free app that you download, and you can run the game using the app, which means you can actually play it by yourself. This is an adventure guide for a particular adventure. And then there is an assembly guide, because there's a fair bit to assemble. Some of the miniatures are quite big. And there's some more realms and stuff they're going to bring out to expand it as well. And it has quite a few miniature trays. The miniatures are very detailed. I have been thinking about getting back into painting, so I may paint them, we'll see. Just another tray there. And then this larger dragon miniature as well, which obviously once you assemble it, that's what the space in the bottom's for. And then you get a large block of tiles. Now once again, you take these apart and some of these assemble. And in the bottom we have a whole heap of dice, some counters, various cards there, another lot of cards, even more cards, character sheets, and they include these slips, because what you do is you actually put the main character weapon, you put the two cards in there so you can flip it over and use both sides, and then the back side of each card is the advanced version of the weapon. So a lot in there, and obviously need to set it up and play it, but looking forward to doing that at some stage with my girls. Alright, so hope you enjoyed a look at that board game. Most excited to get that out and play that very soon. I've read most of the rules now, you know, the game actually sounds quite interesting and will be fun to play, and you can actually play it by yourself too. You need to play two characters, but you can still actually play the game yourself because you control the game from the app. I'll be able to play that when nobody's around as well, and also we'll have a family night, games night, and play it in a big group as well. And the dungeons are actually generated by the adventures and out of the app as well, so it has a lot of replayability. Alright, so for the rest of the video I actually have quite a few homebrew updates. In the downtime, I've been trying to get existing games finished off as much as possible. So Berserk, we've been making lots of some playtesters. Stephen and Eric have been putting in a lot of time playtesting the game for me, and also playing the arcade game and saying, Tony, this is not quite the same and everything like that, and then we're doing little tweaks, and it's getting very, very close now. The gameplay is very good. I've only got a couple more things to finish off. I'll show a bit of video over here while I'm talking about Berserk. We've got the maybe a couple more relative speed things, a little bit more work on Otto's jump arc. I need to add diagonal movement for the robots and diagonal shooting for the robots, but everything else, like the number of robots and how they act and everything like that, and the general gameplay is working really, really well now. So the game is extremely close to being sent off to be released, and that will be released by ColecoVision at some stage early this year. So next, Sydney Hunter and the Cabins of Death. I haven't actually done any work on it since last month, mainly due to the car accident. Basically, Berserk's the first thing I've started working on since the car accident. So I have, as per last month, you can play through the entire game now. I need to go through and fix the graphics for when Sydney is climbing up a rope and sliding down a rope. There's a couple of very, very minor play mechanic bug fixes for hitting particular blocks and things like that, and I haven't done the final end screen as well, but that game is, after all this time, extremely close to being released. Also, my next title, which is mostly finished, is EA's 70s Arcade Classics, which is a collection of 3 games, arcade games from the 1970s. We have Lunar Rescue, which is playing really well. I've got it working both on Coleco and original Spectravideo. I use my original Spectravideo as my base because I can just very quickly port it from there to MSX. There's barely any changes. Then the second game, Depth Charge. From last time I showed you, I've added the ammo counters up at the top of the screen, so you can see how many depth charges you have available at any one time, because you've got a maximum of 6, 3 out one side, 3 out the other. And that game is basically working perfectly on both Coleco and Spectravideo. And by the way, all the sounds and everything are all done on those two. And the third game, Stunt Cycle, it probably hasn't progressed anymore since I last shown you. It looks nice, but I actually need to put the main game mechanics in, which is the throttling up not too fast. If you do it too quickly, you'll flip your bike, and then you've got to judge the right speed to go over the appropriate number of buses. It's only really a very, very simple game, Stunt Cycle, but it just rounds out that collection nicely. And of course, I need to make a menu and make some nice graphics about the menu. But other than that, that's just about done. So that'll be coming out hopefully, the first half of this year. Another game that I've actually been working on for quite some time. It was actually my biggest selling game back in the 80s for the MSX and the Spectravideo. I sold hundreds and hundreds of copies of this. It was called Pixidis. It's a vertically scrolling shooter. It was written so that it would run on a original Spectravideo 318, which only had 16k of RAM, and which basically meant you had like 12.5k free, so that had to be the game code and what it ran in. And I converted it across the MSX and didn't make any enhancements. So that was the version sold back in the day. The version that I have done here that I've converted across to the Coleco, I have actually added more to the game. It has challenge stages at the end of each stage, and it also has a different boss at the end of each stage. Currently it has the 3 stages as per the original, but I am thinking of adding a couple more just to flesh that game a bit. So a little bit more development. Other than it's running reasonably stably, and obviously the Coleco has a lot less RAM than the Spectravideo MSX, so I have to change the scrolling routine, but I'm pretty happy with it. A couple little minor bugs and things like that, and maybe a few more tweaks to the sound effects, but that's actually running really well. Now another project that I started on just on a whim at one stage was one of my favourite Atari 2600 games, and one from Activision, was Seaquest, which is a sub-shooting game where you have to shoot the subs and the fish or sharks before they catch the divers, and you've got to pick the divers up. When you've got 6, you've got to take them to the surface, drop them off. That ends the that particular level, and then you go again. As it gets harder, a sub goes across the top, so you've got to make sure when you go up to the top you time it so that won't hit you, and it just gets faster and faster and faster. And I've always really loved that game, and I think I've managed to get it looking reasonably good on the Coleco, but I haven't touched that code for a little while, and I won't touch that until I get some of these other releases out of the way. That'll be coming out later in the year. And I call it Seaquest 99 because it runs on the TI 99XX chipset. After that will be my conversion of the arcade game Kangaroo. I've shown you the graphics workup at the moment, and at the moment it is only a graphics workup. So there's no code or anything like that and mechanics yet. But that will be the next game I'll be working on the mechanics for. And I said I do like to work on multiple projects at once, as long as I don't, as things don't hang around for too long. So that's why I'm focusing on those titles that are almost finished to get them out the door, so I've got less titles on the go. But Kangaroo, as everybody said when I showed it last time, it looks really nice. I think it's going to look an excellent game on the Coleco MSX and Spectravideo, and I'm very much looking forward to working on that, because it's a platform game, and I haven't actually done a platform game for the Coleco MSX and Spectravideo for such a long time. Some of my original basic games were platform games, and even the depth charge on the EA 70s Classics I actually wrote and the Lunar Rescue. They were both games that I wrote basic versions of with a little bit of machine code back in the day, and I thought, well, what if I wrote 100% machine code ones? That's where the idea for those ones come from. So I may actually raid my library of games that I wrote back in the 80s for more ideas in the future as well. And now one more. It is only a very early graphics layout. I haven't even finished all of the main screens and things like that, but I was just seeing what was possible, and it was actually after I saw all those lucky people over in Canada and the US getting deliveries of their Tron arcade 1-up machines. And by the way, if we do get these Tron arcade 1-up machines, just like if they've got the Star Wars ones over here, I would definitely get one of these. I just love the look of the cabinet. Tron is one of my favourite video movies from back in the day. I still watch it as a bit of a nostalgia kick when I'm doing some programming. It's just one of my absolute dead favourite games. And I thought, look, it's perfectly possible to do the graphics of Tron on the Coleco and the MSX, so I started putting a bit of graphics treatment together. Now obviously Tron does have quite different controls, so I am going to have a few control options, but there is actually potential for a spinner on the Coleco, so maybe Tron could actually come out with a potential spinner control as well. And there is on the forums, you can see somebody's actually put together a paddle controller that you can print all the files out and build yourself. So definite possibility. And the Super Action controller actually has a spinner on it as well. So there are options for controls. But obviously won't be working on the actual code of that for a little while, but I'll tinker away at the graphics, and if I make improvements to them, I'll give you some updates later. Alright, so that's all I've got for this month. I do have a couple of videos. A friend of mine basically said he had all this Atari ST stuff. Would I like it? So that's sitting up here. I've basically unboxed it and videoed that bit, but I need to have some time to just sit down and have a play with it. And a whole heap of games. I had a whole stack of games, and I only had one of them, which I think is actually pretty amazing, and I haven't played with the Atari ST for a while, so I'm actually looking forward to that. And that Atari ST, the one I got, actually has a GoTech drive in it, which none of my other ones do, so it'll probably be the first GoTech that I play with as well. So that's an upcoming video. I do have a couple of packages on the way from various people around the world. They're just taking forever. With the Australia's borders are open to visitors now, but it's going to take a while for the freight and everything to catch up. That's the most difficult thing. Alright, I hope everybody out there is staying safe and enjoying their retro and modern games. I'm Untitled Adventures. Thanks to all my subscribers. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.